"You are just a meal-cooking old hag, huh?" said the eldest son's wife, bringing a cake when she was hospitalized. But my husband, who saw my reaction, got furious. "What are you doing? Apologize to your daughter-in-law." I swear to God I didn't do anything to deserve such anger, so I think it's time to come clean with them. Have you seen what's inside the cake? I am Miranda, a 72-year-old housewife, and I work part-time cooking meals. Since I loved cooking from a young age, influenced by my mother, I decided to attend a cooking school after graduating from high school. I obtained a cooking license upon graduation and have been working at a dispatch-type cooking company since then. I have been continuously cooking meals that are both healthy and delicious, whether it's in a company cafeteria, hospital, or nursing home, to ensure people enjoy their meals. Although I worked as a regular employee for many years, I am now a part-time employee due to my age. Nevertheless, I am still happy to be able to work while enjoying cooking. At home, apart from cooking, I do all the housework, but I never receive any gratitude from my husband. He's the type who perfectly embodies the phrase "men don't belong in the kitchen," and he doesn't even know where anything is, not even a single drink, without calling me. "Hey, get me some tea." Sure, didn't you say the tea leaves, kettle, and teacups are on this shelf?" "I don't know about that, you should do it." Despite not being able to do anything around the house, he has Everest-like pride as a former department manager of a top-tier company, so I worry if anything were to happen to me. My husband and I have an eldest son and an eldest daughter, and our eldest son got married about 2 years ago. Our eldest son, who is over 30 years old, and it was a marriage introduction at an age considered suitable for marriage in society, so I was thrilled. I actually wanted to introduce her before they got married, but apparently, the timing didn't work out because she insisted on getting married on her birthday. Our eldest son has always been reliable, and I have no intention of meddling in his relationships at this age. On the promised day, we met her for the first time at our house where my husband and I live. She had a slim, petite body, and her big eyes were impressive, making the difference between her and our eldest son apparent. The woman introduced as Carrie, whom our eldest son married, had been living with her parents until she started working as a working adult after graduating from junior college. "My parents were strict, so I've never lived on my own. I'm a beginner at housework, but I'll do my best." With her high-pitched voice and looking up, our eldest son's wife spoke as if she had jumped out of TV or something. Right after she finished speaking, my husband's voice, unable to contain his joy, came bursting in. "That earnestness of yours is the greatest weapon. You're fine just the way you are." It seems like my husband was immediately taken with her adorable demeanor and charming atmosphere. While the cuteness and earnestness that I lack may have been fresh to my husband, I have a bad feeling about it. After that, we had been chatting about my student days, life as a working adult, and how my eldest son and I first met. The relaxed atmosphere suddenly changed in an instant. "Mother-in-law, what happened to your hand?" "Oh, I just cut it a bit while I was working. I guess I was in a rush." "Ouch. By the way, what do you mean by being in a rush?" "I work as a chef at a part-time job, and it happened during work. At my age, I switched from a full-time employee to a part-time, but I still work full hours, just like before." When she found out that I work as a chef, she made a subtle expression that was hard to read. "Working as a chef at a part-time job, does that mean you're one of those ladies cooking meals at the cafeteria?" "The cafeteria lady? Well, I guess you could say that. In my case, I'm more like the cafeteria granny." As I joked and chuckled, my husband started teasing me. "This woman's always cooking, whether at home or outside. She's like a grandma in the kitchen." He probably thought it was funny. Usually, my eldest son would scold my husband, but he happened to be in the restroom at that moment, so there was no one to stop my husband's antics. I was taken aback by the sudden turn of events and couldn't say anything. But what further accelerated my situation was an unexpected remark from her. "Granny in the kitchen, that's right. Always cooking meals whether at the cafeteria or at home. But I'm fine because I'm devoted to my beloved husband." Her response left me speechless, and I couldn't find the right words to reply. However, she continued talking to my son, who had returned from the restroom, as if nothing had happened. "I was just listening to your conversation, and mother-in-law is such a hard worker. I'll do my best to learn from her and work hard too." In the evening, my eldest son and his wife left, but my feelings haven't cleared up since then. Being belittled for the job I've proudly pursued for decades, and seeing the facade I put on in front of my son, I couldn't help but feel a hint of unease. My husband and I thought we had a decent relationship with our eldest son and his wife. We exchanged souvenirs when we traveled, and sometimes I would deliver some extra dishes I had made. We even occasionally celebrated birthdays by dining at slightly nicer restaurants. However, as we spent more time with my eldest son and his wife, I began to feel increasingly uneasy about my daughter-in-law's attitude. My daughter-in-law and I are connected as friends on social media, and even her posts raise some concerns. In a recent post about the restaurant we visited for my husband's birthday celebration, only my portion was unnaturally cropped out. Additionally, she posted about the plum wine and pickles I gave her as if she had made them herself. Looking forward to enjoying the plum wine we made together with my husband. And the pickles should be ready to eat soon, full of love and deliciousness. My daughter-in-law, gaining followers as a meticulous homemaker, had already received numerous comments on her recent posts, despite them being posted not long ago. I stared at the screen filled with comments praising my daughter-in-law. Perhaps none of them even considered that someone else had made what she claimed to have made. I couldn't help but wonder if she felt no shame in loudly claiming someone else's work as her own. Although I thought about it, since I wasn't directly affected, I lightly considered continuing to interact with her at a moderate distance in the future. However, I would soon realize that my daughter-in-law was far more dangerous than I had anticipated. I ended up being flagged in a health examination for a certain test item and had to be seen at a major hospital. After being examined at the hospital, I was diagnosed with cancer and had to be hospitalized for tests and treatment for a while. I'll be hospitalized for cancer treatment for a while. So, take care of things at home, okay? Convenient for you to just go to the hospital and leave everything to us, isn't it? Why would he say such a thing when his wife was hospitalized due to poor health? However, I refrained from angering my husband here, as it would be troublesome. Don't say things like that. I'd be happy if you could visit me occasionally. Who would bother to go see your face? I don't even know anything about the house. Well, maybe Harry understands the details better than you do. When I consulted my eldest son, he assured me that he would visit me between work commitments, which relieved me. Since the day he said he would visit was still a few days away, I decided to gather laundry and other things to ask him to take care of. Then, there was a rattling noise, and someone entered. I heard from Harry and got worried, so I came to visit you, said my daughter-in-law, holding a white box from the pastry shop as she entered the hospital room. Oh, Carrie, you're busy too, yet you came to visit. Thank you for coming. Harry will also come next Sunday, but my husband, not at all. I'm happy you came. Then, Carrie, with a smile, placed a white box she brought on the bedside table. Get well soon and please enjoy the cake you used to like. I bought it for you. Thank you. Let's eat it together since you brought it. With a light wave of her hand, my daughter-in-law started preparing to leave. I have a few errands to run now. Please enjoy. Oh, there are 2 cakes in there, she said as she quickly exited the room. Despite some problematic remarks in the past, it was heartening to have her visit with a gift. It made me feel appreciated. Just then, my husband entered, almost as if in passing. You came? Yeah, just happened to be in the area. Carrie came just now, didn't she? He plopped down on the chair next to him as we talked. Yeah, she just left. Harry will come in a couple of days, but before that, she left cakes as a gift. She said there are 2, so would you like to have some? I offered. As expected of Carrie, always so considerate. I prefer cheesecake, he replied. At that moment, along with a sense of unease, I became convinced that a certain concern had been realized. I snatched the box back and tossed it into the trash bin at my feet, causing a crumpling sound as the box collapsed. Hey, what are you doing? Carrie went to the trouble of buying that cake for us. She picked out a cake for you, thinking of you. You're the worst. Are you trying to bully your daughter-in-law now? I immediately questioned my husband. Did you see what's inside the cake? No, I didn't. What's the matter? Still seeming unsure of what I was getting at. Don't go throwing around accusations of bullying. If you think it's bullying, then go ahead and try the other cake, the one you didn't pick, right here in front of me. I'm good, not a fan of whipped cream. If you'd been listening, who said anything about a whipped cream cake? My husband looked bewildered, as if he didn't quite understand what he was saying. I simply mentioned that there were 2 cakes. Yet, despite not even checking the contents, you decided on the cheesecake. Doesn't that seem strange to you? I don't know, I just thought it might be cheesecake. Seeing that he still hadn't grasped the gravity of the situation, I decided to spell it out for him. And furthermore, after that, I only said to try the other cake, not specifically the cheesecake. And what did you say in response? I don't know, what did I say? With a habit of looking away and laughing when caught off guard, it was obvious my husband was trying to cover something up. You said you didn't like whipped cream, so you said it was fine. It's as if you already knew there was both cheesecake and whipped cream cake inside. You're just nitpicking at words, trying to muddy the waters. Seeing his attempt to sweep the issue under the rug, I decided to press further. You haven't even opened the box, and it's not like the contents are visible from the damaged box. Yet, somehow you seem to know what's inside. It's clear you've already figured it out. Don't talk nonsense. I haven't seen Carrie buy the cake, so I absolutely don't know anything. Say whatever you want. Just try the cake that isn't the cheesecake. If there's nothing wrong with it, then apologize and get down on your knees for your bullying. At the mention of kneeling down, my husband's eyes sparkled as if seeing an opportunity for a reversal of roles. But this wasn't the end of what I had to say. If there's anything wrong with the cake, I'll call Carrie right away. Retrieving the cake box from the trash, I opened it to find, as my husband had claimed, a fruit cake generously adorned with both cheesecake and whipped cream. Despite being a bit crumpled, it seemed perfectly fine for a taste test. The cake is a bit crumbled, but it should be fine to taste. I place the fruit cake with plenty of whipped cream on a paper plate and hand it to my husband along with a disposable fork. As soon as my husband puts it in his mouth, he grimaces and mutters something under his breath. Ugh, salty. Gross. You said the cake is salty, right? I knew it. Then, as promised, call Carrie here. Right now. And if you say something strange when you call her, I won't let it slide. As agreed, my husband calls Carrie reluctantly. He's on the phone, and there's no sign of his usual cheerful demeanor. I, his wife, who probably saw through everything, am watching from the side. There won't be any fun. It's almost like reporting a failed strategy to the boss character as one of the minion characters. While thinking about that, Carrie enters the room. What's wrong? I got a call from father-in-law and rushed over, thinking something happened. Did I forget something? I'm such an airhead. Carrie probably doesn't know that her plan has been uncovered. I push the box containing the cake I just took out of the trash can towards Carrie. Yeah, you forgot something. The contents of this box belong to me, right? Of course. You said the cake made with the whipped cream here is delicious. You knew that I have taste disorders from cancer treatment, didn't you? Then Carrie, as if hearing it for the first time, puts her hand to her mouth with a surprised expression. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Since she still seems intent on feigning ignorance, I'll press her a bit here so she can't escape. My husband says this whipped cream is salty. Did you know that strong salty flavors can interfere with treatment? Finally realizing that her plan has failed, Carrie glares fiercely at her husband. Seeing that blaming her co-conspirator won't help, Carrie either intends to cover up or is clearly concocting an excuse. That's strange. Whipped cream being salty? I'm sure the bakery must have mixed up sugar and salt. I'll go to the shop myself to sort it out, so don't worry. You didn't know about the taste disorder, and there's salt in the cake. Do you think that's all there is to it? If I didn't know, there's nothing I can do about it, right? If you blame every mistake, you'll end up being disliked. Sorry, I don't have the culinary knowledge like you. I'll take my leave. As Carrie tries to leave the room, I quickly rush to the door, lock it, and lean against it so she can't leave. Saying there's nothing to be done is something the victim would say, not you. Going to the shop? What are you going to tell the bakery after bringing a homemade cake in a bakery box? So, are you saying you never makes mistakes? That's amazing, I admire you. The tone of Carrie, my son's wife, is almost provocative, but getting into an argument would only make things worse. I operate my tablet device, which was lying on the bed, and open the search engine. The search history shows phrases like foods hindering cancer treatment, salt speeds up cancer, and taste disorders salt. Why does this tablet have search history that I don't remember searching for? Maybe it's your misunderstanding? But I haven't used this tablet recently. When I checked the history, it was around the time you all came back home for the New Year's. I remember using this tablet because I wanted to watch a live stream of a band. I didn't miss Carrie's twitching face. Are you suggesting that I researched cancer progression back then when I only borrowed it for a short while? Stop making baseless accusations. It's not baseless, it's a fact. The icon here looks like your favorite band. It seems you forgot to log out. Carrie turns pale as she looks at the icon, her hands trembling. I knew you didn't like me, but there's a difference between right and wrong, isn't there? This is like poisoning someone, it's a crime, what you're doing. Being accused of a crime clearly angered Carrie, and she starts to lose her temper. It's not my fault. You've been treating me badly, right? I just told you that being able to cook doesn't make you superior, so you should be grateful. I have no recollection of that whatsoever, and I haven't talked much about work or cooking with Carrie. I've only brought homemade pickles and side dishes a few times. I didn't mean to brag, but if my stories made you uncomfortable, I apologize. But that doesn't justify what you're doing. Even though I told you, this old hag still doesn't get it. Does being a woman who can cook make you that great? Acting all proud just because you've got a hold-on stomach. While Carrie, my son's wife, is breathing heavily beside me, my husband inexplicably chimes in from the side. He had been like a wallflower in the corner of the hospital room ever since I called Carrie out, but suddenly he's butting in. That's right. A woman should be charming. And yet, you've been working since forever, and I never felt like you were determined to properly take care of the household. Don't act all high and mighty just because you have some kind of cooking qualification. Oh, you're still here. You're really taking Carrie's side. You knew your role was to make sure I ate the salted cake properly, didn't you? If that's the case, what's it to you? There have been talks about living together with Carrie and Hiroshi soon. You can live alone, it suits you to live modestly in some room somewhere. It seems that there had been discussions about my husband and my son's family living together in a place where I wasn't present. Living together was news to me, and judging by my husband's tone, it's clear he wants to kick me out of the house as soon as possible. What have you been thinking all this time? Even this living together thing, you were probably told by Carrie, right? That's right. Unlike you, she's a kind and gentle woman, and she felt sorry for me being alone at home. Because you don't take care of things at home. So, despite repeatedly telling me to be able to manage things at home, it seems I've brought this upon myself. This salted cake, is it because you're after my health insurance or something? Why would you think that? You were quite thorough in reading through documents and policies, and you made several calls to the insurance company, right? The insurance company called me too. They told me a few things, and I put two and two together. It's terrifying to think that they had been planning to prolong treatment to benefit from insurance money and use it to live with my son's family. It's like a horror story to realize this through random searches and calls from the insurance company. If I hadn't noticed, who knows what would have happened. My son seemed completely unaware of the wrongdoing of his father and his wife. Feeling guilty for approaching his mother with malice and disrupting her treatment, he decided to divorce them. It seems my daughter-in-law strongly protested against the divorce. However, my son's determination was firm. He didn't cancel the divorce because he couldn't forgive her for not taking her actions seriously and not knowing what might happen in the future if they stayed together. Thanks to the successful results of my cancer treatment, I was discharged safely. Although I couldn't push myself too hard, I successfully returned to work as a cooking staff member. Since my company operates on a dispatch basis, I work in different locations each time. Upon my return, I was assigned to a local hospital. There are a lot of comments about today's breakfast special menu. Could it be because of this name? Although the surname was different, there was a name on the food ticket that I recognized. Later, I learned that it was the former daughter-in-law who was hospitalized, based on her age and characteristics. The divorce triggered a mental breakdown, leading to hospitalization. She was notorious for nitpicking about meals and daily life, and it seems that the staff had quite a hard time dealing with her. When I went to distribute meals, I encountered the former daughter-in-law arguing loudly with the staff. So, the rumors about the old hag cooking were true after all. Hey, staff, it's because of this hag that I'm stuck here. Why don't you admit her instead of me? You're still talking nonsense as usual. Besides, I have work to do, so I don't have time to deal with you. Now, even the staff seems to dislike her considerably. She remains oblivious to the fact that her actions have made her so disliked, showing her consistent behavior. Unable to face the truth and coming up with various excuses, she seems to be a weak person. With the divorce of my son and his wife, the talk of my husband living with them has disappeared. Having made a fuss about living together, it would be awkward to continue as before under the same roof. My husband seems uncomfortable with the situation. Recently, my eldest daughter, who has become more relaxed with her work, occasionally visits, which makes me happy. But the only thing that seems to have changed is that he's gradually learning about household chores. With my daughter occasionally dropping by, my husband is caught between me and her, learning the ins and outs of household chores thoroughly. I want him to become self-reliant as I don't know what the future holds for me. Teaching my husband at this age is harder than I thought, but for the sake of our future lives, we have no choice but to do it. When making soup, you usually use chicken for the broth, but when you're short on time, granulated stock works just fine. Nowadays, there are convenient options available, so we should make use of them. I see. I had no idea making soup took so much effort. I used to complain about cutting corners. No, you just didn't know. It's okay as long as you learn from now on. My husband seemed to have realized how much easier he had it by doing things himself and how challenging household chores can be. Lately, he's been expressing his gratitude a little more. I want to live our usual life together with my husband once again, working hand in hand.